Hi guys, welcome back to ExamDebug. Chris McKenna here. So we're continuing our series on inputs and outputs for Python 3. And last time we were looking at CSV files and how to read them. So you see here we had this CSV file and we were reading it into a program and putting it into lists. Now we can do the same thing in reverse, and we can output using the CSV writer to keep it in nice, neat little formats and add stuff to our page. So what we can do is we'll start by import CSV. So that's using the cool little package that someone else has made that's written in Python, but it saves us a lot of time if we just import that. And then we're going to do as we did before with open, then the name of our file, which I think is called prices.csv. Yep. And then what we want to do. So in this case, I've already got some stuff in there, so I want to append to it rather than write. Now I might use write in the situation where, for example, maybe I've read it all in, done some changes, and I want to blast it all out again. In this case, I'm just going to add some stuff to the list. And I'm going to call it, once it's read in, it's going to be called CSV file, just as we did before. Apologies if I'm repeating a lot here, but it helps to go over, and I want the videos to be sort of self-contained. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can employ the cool CSV package. And what we can do is I can call my CSV app for appender. My CSV appender is going to equal, single equals, is going to equal CSV dot, oops, not reader, CSV writer. And it's going to be dealing with the CSV file. Oops. Okay, so this is going to, this will use this package, and it will create a file. It will do something with the file, and the file it's going to do something with is called CSV file, which is the name inside our program of csv.prices, which is the external file. So we're loading it in, we're not dealing with the external file yet. Okay, so it's going to do the CSV writer stuff with CSV file. So now what we can do is CSV underscore app dot write row. Now what this will do is it will add a new row to the file, assuming we've done an append. If it would not done an append, it's going to start it again, and it's going to clear the file and start from the beginning. So be really careful in case you lose a whole bunch of data that way. Now I've cheated slightly and I've made some things. Here's one I made earlier. And so what this is going to do, this write row is going to write a list. So this is going to be Mountain Blade. It has 1,000 so far downloads, and it costs $10. And you'll see here that follows the same format as this. Now I could add in more things, but normally it makes sense to have the same number for each. But there could be exceptions. You could if you liked. So this is going to write to the row. So now if I save it and run it, okay. So nothing happens here, of course, but hopefully if we go to the file, so we close that file and we have a look in the folder. By the way, notice it shows up as an Excel file in here, not as because CSVs seems to be Excel seems to be the default for CSV for my computer. But I can open it with Notepad, and you'll see that it's added. I don't know why it's left a space. Maybe because I was playing about with the file and left an extra space in. But you'll see that it's added on. It's appended this to the file. I think last time when I was saving it, I left in an extra space. Let's see what happens if I do it again. Open with Notepad. Okay, so that time it worked better. Yeah, so be careful where you save your. If you leave extra spaces, it will automatically jump, and we don't want that. Try and keep it clean and tidy. So you see, it appends this to the file without all the list stuff. And so that saves us a lot of time. Of course, you could do this with a writer, a plain writer, but why when someone else has made something nice for us? Okay, so that's one option. The other thing we might have though is we might have, as we built up last time, lists of lists already. Yep, so rather than just one game in this case, maybe I have, and see what I made below, so cool. Maybe I have 2 games. Now if I was to do right row, then I would have to do games 1, games 2, and again I could have infinite number, obviously not infinite, but I could have some kind of, I could have 100 games, I could have 1,000 games, and we don't know the situation. So rather than right row, of course we could do a for loop for items in games right row. That's possible. Let's see what that looks like. For game in games, oops, for game in games right row games. We could do that. I guess it's not that much work to be honest, but to save ourselves some hassle, what we can do is just use right rows and include our list of lists on there already. And so this time it's going to add Total War and maybe, I don't know, ABC. I think I just got lazy at that point. It's going to add Total War and ABC, and hopefully if we run it, okay, we don't get an error. It's always a good sign. Go to prices, open with Notepad. Aha, and you'll see that it's appended everything that was in here. If we were to, let's say, I know we've already got this game, this will be the 3rd time, but just a proof of concept. If we were to go in there and you'll see that it's going to add everything inside of that multi-lists, or whatever you want to call it, here into our CSV file. Okay, and like I said, it's only appending because of the A. If we change it to a W, it would write and clear. I mean, I think I'm done anyway, so let's save it and write just to test it to make sure that's true. Open with Notepad. You see that it's overwritten all the other ones on top of that series. Okay, so I hope that helped you understand a bit of the inputs and outputs to files with Python. Again, what I'd suggest you do is add on from what we were talking about last time. You're kind of, I suggested that you make a program which is going to have, film name, star, director. In the last one, you were reading in the file and you were able to search for the director, and it would return, oh, that director was involved in this movie with this star. You don't have to do multiple ones, just one's fine. If you want to be super fancy, have every movie they've done. For this, maybe you could add to that and give another option for adding in people to your file. So it could be that it asks the user what's the name of the director, what's the name of the movie, what's the name of the star. You would enter them in and it will save them to the file. Or it could be that you read in, you could have like an additions file, which is one CSV file. You read it in and then it will output it to your main file, or it will add it to your main file. That might be a bit more tricky, but maybe a bit more interesting as well. If there's time later, I might try and make an example of that kind of program. Anyway, if you've got any questions or comments or anything you're not sure about, please give me a shout below. Thanks, good luck with your exams.